Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm Vusi Nzampalala as projected here. I'm presenting on behalf of two ladies who unfortunately couldn't join us due to some pressing commitments today. Uh, just like our friends Zambia, uh, we also picked the agricultural workers as one of the groups that we believe are not sufficiently covered. And I think it's the right time for me to point out right away that Eswatini is currently running a national provident fund scheme, and it's covering all private sector employees and excluding governments. And also, we have some exemptions. So, in this breakaway room, I'm learning that we have giants that we need to follow quickly because in our case, it's the legislation that is making some of our citizens not being covered statutorily. So in this presentation, the uncovered population will be the small scale traders, those that are just doing small scale businesses and they are not registered. Most of the time, they are running their own businesses like hawkers, your ladies in the market. These people are the people who need the cover most because they are economically active, but poverty is postponed for them because they don't save anywhere. They don't save anything. So there's no compelling law that pushes them to save. Also, the domestic workers, I think everyone has spoken about those. Our current legislation exclusively uh, excludes them from being covered from the current provident fund. So they are also one vulnerable group, and it is in the law. But I must say that in this area we have tried to move a bit because we have quite a good number of those that are voluntarily contributing to the fund. Zambia has spoken a lot about agricultural workers. Some are in beef farming, some are in the agriculture spaces and growing some sugar cane and smallholder farms they have. So they are also in the uncovered group in this country, and we want to focus on them. Then the self-employed individuals, just like the small-scale traders, the people who run taxi operators, those that are running their own salons, hairdressers, and the like. We have an interesting group. In Eswatini, we our football is not professional and it is the shortest career ever on earth. So at age 35, 36, these football players have retired, but you find that they are into poverty immediately they retire. So they are also one group that we worried about in terms of becoming a burden early in life because some of them do not have an alternative career. Then their characteristics is the irregular income streams, lack of formal employer-employee relationships, just like the football players. It's a matter of this season, this player is playing for so and so. Also, the lady who runs the salon in town is self-employed, so she does all the money belongs to her that she makes per day. She doesn't see the need to store aside for the future. So they are legally not participating in any formal social security scheme, and that is one worry. The current situation, as I've said, the coverage is limited to formally employed individuals, and that one is in the statute. Informal workers, they are not mandated to contribute. They may contribute voluntarily. And we've been, for the past 2, 3 years, we've been pushing and selling the benefits of these to most, and they've taken up the contributions, but there's nothing compelling. A huge majority is still outside. And also, even if They were mandated. We know that they are administrative and affordability barriers. I think in this whole course, we learned about the 6 A's framework, which touches on the attractiveness and affordability. So, focusing on these uncovered groups, the issue of affordability comes into play quickly because they believe what they make today is just sufficient to keep them alive today. There is just no thinking for the future. For there's a lot of awareness raising that needs to take place there. Then the currently existing scheme here at the Swatini National Provident Fund, as I said, is the lump sum at not even at retirement. At 50 years, one is allowed to come and withdraw the full amount as a lump sum and off they go. By the time they reach 60, even if they are still employed between 50 and 60, they will be withdrawing at every 2 year intervals. And by the time they go home on the last day, they have nothing at all to take home. So it's a worrisome state. And after 60, they become a government burden because then there is this limited non-contributory social assistance that government gives, and it is just insignificant really to take care of one person who was earning a salary every month. So, as I said, the result is that old age poverty becomes guaranteed, even with the employed citizens having to take the full amount at 50. At 60, you will be struggling to survive further years. And also the retirement, the income stability which comes with pension, guaranteed income, we do not have that legislation, at least for the private sector citizens in the country. So that is what we want to introduce. So on the challenges, the coverage of the informal sector, as I said, the law doesn't even compel them to contribute. So it is us who need to take the issue of attractiveness in the 6 A's and make and ensure that we make it attractive to them, give them the reasons why they should save with us voluntarily in the meantime. And the lump sum withdrawals, rapid depletion of savings, and the dependence on the old age grants. Here, the problem is that we will have an individual who was working and getting a decent salary at 60. They retire with nothing. They have children who are still going to school, and should it happen that they die, uh, those children become vulnerable, and we are back to not only the person who's retired being a burden to government, also their dependents are putting a strain on the government. And the financial literacy, these people that we're talking about that are not covered, they are living for the day. You can imagine a taxi operator who collects money as per the trips they make, and at the end of the day, they go buy food for their family. So they do not have that long-term thinking about what is going to happen post their economic activity. Also, the incentives for voluntary contributions, they are very limited because our legislation is quite restrictive. So talking about having an attractive scheme to woo people to come and join is difficult in that regard. So we have a solution. This is a solution that we've been campaigning for over so many years. We want to convert this provident fund into a pension fund, and this one will introduce the mandatory annuitization at retirement to ensure that you do not deplete your savings at a go, at least until you die. And even after you die, your dependents get something until they are at the age where they are economically active. And this is the gospel that we are currently preaching and trying to convince everyone to repeal the current order and get a conversion into a pension fund. And we believe that through that, the coverage through the law will be extended, because the people that are currently excluded will be included. And also, we want to make it, the law will make it mandatory, but we also have a challenge to ensure that even after the conversion, we make it accessible and easy for people to register into the scheme online without necessarily filling in lengthy documents. And also the payments processes must be convenient for the people so that they do not have to queue, because parting with money is not an easy thing, especially for a self-employed. We need to simplify it as much as possible. So we have already uh, engaged stakeholders. There is a bill in place. It's currently before Parliament. We hoping any day from now that conversion will allow us to extend the coverage even wider, so that we worry about compliance, not worrying about many people who are not covered by the law as currently is a state. And then on the regulatory and legislative changes, there is definitely one underway: the repeal of the current order of 1974 to allow the pension and the monthly contributions and monthly payments of pension until death, and also assisting the beneficiaries is overdue. Am I still audible?
You are indeed still audible. You have just over 3 minutes.
3. Oh, then we also need to strengthen the investment rules, because now that we be having in our books a liability to pay individuals till death, I think we need to ensure that the investments are also talking to the requirements. Then the benefits for the population: the increased coverage, its poverty alleviation strategy, and also in the informal sector just to participate in this scheme, to give them a peace of mind and the security in terms of income that will come any day. Then the savings pool will be expanded, and we will be able to diversify our investments and reduce the government current reliance on government. We will have monitoring mechanisms through the actuarial reviews to ensure that we are running a sustainable fund, and also the tracking systems, data analytics, so that we respond to the exact needs of the members out there instead of doing what we think is for them. Then we also we I'm competing now. We also have the stakeholder forum, which is an annual event where we put bare our performance and the state of the fund, and all members can question and input into that. And I think the mitigation on the risks that are identified out there in terms of the complexity and the low participation, the education and awareness raising. Some people do not know what is in it for them. So we need to sell these things publicly, and we also make it simple and accessible to everyone. And we consider the inclusive digitalization, so that we don't digitalize and leave others behind, and we have a strong regulatory system. So, in conclusion, I'll say it's a need now for us to extend the coverage into the informal sector, and the legislation that is currently before Parliament is the one that is going to assist us, and we will work with our stakeholders in achieving this. Thank you very much, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lucy. And just in time, very exciting, actually, to hear the news from Eswatini. So, because I know that it has been in the making for quite a while. And so what's the time frame for the revised bill?
The bill, we engaged both houses of Parliament, because it has to be passed by Parliament, the act. We engaged both houses last year, December, And now Parliament is to take it into the public. They call it a public review of the order before they take in the comments and then pass the law.
Okay.
It's very difficult to say when because of past experience. We've over 10 years trying to get here, so you never know what's going to happen. But at least it's at the last stage in Parliament. We hope for the best.
Yes. Well, keep us posted. And that will make quite a lot of difference. So as you're saying, really changing the pension system and also, I mean, for everyone, but also for this specific group, the informal workers. Very interesting what you were saying about footballers. So no footballers are professional in Eswatini, is that right?
No, it's not professional in Eswatini.
Wow. Wow. And I guess they don't earn that all that much either if you're saying that they or maybe they do but they spend it all. What's the
It's not something significant, but
Yeah,
it's worth saving for the West days because they come
of
in very
course. Yeah.
quicker.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for a very engaging presentation, and we wish you all the best with the bill, with the adoption of the bill. So, as I said, keep us posted, and I'm sure we'll hear back from Eswatini and um, soon. So, okay, so that was our second to last presentation, but I see that more people have joined our room. I see Method from Rwanda. I see Agnes as well. So I don't know, Method and Agnes, if you, I don't think you were down as presenters. So I don't know if you do have something that you want to present or you just want to listen.
On my side,
I'm just listening in.
Okay, Agnes just listening in, and Method the same.
Me too, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. Just to know if we had to add you to our queue. Excellent. So we have Gabriel and Rehema. This will be the final presentation. So Gabriel and Rehema from Tanzania. Over to you, and I'll get the timer started. But let's see. Do you have a presentation to share?
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, we hear an echo. Are you sitting in the same room?
Yes.
So one of you needs to turn off the audio or we'll hear you. Okay, you decide who that is, who wants to go first, and who will share the screen as well.
I'm going to share the screen.
Wait, okay, Rahima, thank you. Okay, Gabriel, have a go. I won't start the timer until you're all set up. Okay, yeah, we can see it. I see it's a PDF, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Rahima, are you going first then? Shall I start the timer?
Yes, Costanza. How are you, everybody?
All good. How are you?
Yeah, okay. We are good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you for the previous presentations. We are delighted to hear from every one of you. And actually, our NSSF practice is more or less of the two presenters that have been presented previously. So NSSF is a public fund which covers social security, which provides social security services to private sector and self-employed. So our experience is quite different because we are now implementing the scheme called Hifadhi scheme, which has been transformed, has been established after the enactment of the law that given us the mandate to cover the self-employed group as an extension coverage to the social security. So we are going to give a brief operationalization of the Hifadhi scheme. Before that, we will be giving you a bit of a historical background, whereby in 2018, we've established a scheme called National Informal Sector Scheme, which aims to cover the group. The group, which that include domestic workers, workers in the agriculture sector, livestock keeping, artisans, mining, transportation, street vendors, small businesses, and those who are in the informal sector. So after establishing the scheme to cover mostly 80% of national workforce, but fortunately, in 4 years in the lane, we didn't, we couldn't perform well because of the low awareness, and there are some issues that made us not performing very well. Those including the mismatch of the benefits, because this one was the typically defined contribution, whereby a member could contribute, and at the end of the day, he will get lump sum payment, which was typically not as per Social Security principles. So in 2023, we did a review, a comprehensive one, and we came up with a hybrid system which combines the defined contributions and defined benefits, whereby members will get short-term benefits and long-term benefits to safeguard their interests and to match with their needs and wants. So the scheme has the following thematic features. Because of the experience that we had in the first scheme, so we came up with a very simple, convenient, and affordable tailor-made products for individuals with low income, whereby a member now will only pay 20,000 as minimum contribution per month, and also we've matched some of the benefits, such as health insurance, into one package of social security benefits, whereby a member who contributes 30,000 as a minimum, he will be eligible to enjoy or to get social security health benefits. But if in case he wants to onboard his dependents, he'll pay more, which is an increment of like 22,000 from what he will be contributing as a single member. And eligibility for the entry point is between 15 to 70 years, because in Tanzania we have social assistance for those vulnerable group of above 70. So for this scheme, we've kept it into. We've kept it for only 70 years. It is the maximum age of entry. And we have integrated the pension benefits with other products, such as health benefits, as I said before. So for those who are members of the National Social Security Fund under Hifadhi scheme, will also be able to get health benefits as well. And we have a simplified contribution system, whereby a member will be able to generate his or her own control number. We have a special number for payment, which is a government electronic payment system number. So we through the mobile app or portal, a member can generate control number and make payment using the mobile network platforms. And the benefits covered under Hifadhi scheme is those which have been identified by the ILO, whereby we cover only 7 benefits, and the short-term and long-term, including health benefits for principal member and maximum of 5 dependents, and we have maternity benefits, we have funeral grants to the deceased relatives. But we have also a withdrawal, whereby a member will be able to, he can access partial withdrawal or full withdrawal, depending on his or her preferences. But for those who have attained old age, they'll get old age pension. Those who have reached 55 years of age and above. And also for deceased relatives, they'll be able to get survivors benefits, and we have also invalidity benefits. And we have several initiatives to improve our coverage, because it's almost 3 years now, but we haven't yet covered well the group. So we are trying to have several initiatives, to onboard several initiatives, so that to improve the enrollment and coverage of the group. The first one is we are going to foster, we are continuing to foster member engagement using various digital and marketing strategies, like campaigns, media campaigns, mobile services, push messages and calls. Sometimes we call them to promote them to contribute. And also we embrace institutional collaborations to all in group outreach, so that to extend coverage. These groups are like cooperative societies, the SACCOs, we call SACCOs, the mobiles financial services groups. But also we facilitate synergies between the fund and cross-cutting ministries and all institutions related to informal sector economy in the country. We also we enhance interoperability for data sharing and information sharing between the fund and other informal economic groups. And also we provide educational seminars to self-employed individuals, and we provide also public education on the significance of social security. But we leverage the enhancement of application of digital platforms such as social media, mobile application, and portal. And fortunately, in Tanzania, mostly all Tanzanians pay their bills using the GPG number, the government bills, such as power services and water services. So we use the government bill services. So we leverage the same channel, so that to enable the members to use the same usual mode of payment that they normally use while they're paying their bills. So we use the USSD code and application and mobile portal application. So we also continue to leverage on the information technology advancement, and we optimize operations of the ICT to create efficient data integrity and to drive innovation between among the groups. So how do we monitor the implementation of the Hifadhi scheme? We normally assess and provide quarterly enrollment reports to assess the improvement and the gaps that are existing between among the operational centers in the NSSF. But we also we have dashboards that is monitor weekly reports, and we also establish contribution density to see who is not contributing in that particular period, and monitor by enforcing through enforcement of the contribution payment. We also use push SMS to alert and remind members. Sometimes we alert and remind members using push SMS, and it works well because we normally get response from the members. But also we measure we measure the satisfaction level by using claim management system, and we also measure the processed claims, so that to improve the quality service, to better provide benefits within our timeline. We also assess the payment reports on quarterly and annual basis, but we also evaluate through annual statistic reviews. including the actuarial. Sometimes we conduct actuarial to see the improvement and sustainability of the scheme. But we also monitor through surveys and questionnaires on the satisfaction level and get the feedback platform that we have in our platforms. So that's how NSSF works, and we don't have any legal requirement so far, because it's only 2018 that we have transformed from, we have engaged ourselves to extend coverage to the informal sector. So now we are still implementing and assessing the gaps and dynamics, and within the process we onboard different approaches so that to ensure the extension of coverage is attained. So that's it from NSSF.
Thank you very, very much, Rehema. This was very comprehensive as well, and very interesting. So you're going through quite an interesting reform, and it was interesting for us to get the history of the reform and the low coverage and the reasons for it. And I like the way you focused very much on attractiveness as well. And I suppose, like we heard for Zambia, using one, and others as well, you know, using one benefit and coverage to leverage the attractiveness, because people will have access not only to a pension, but they will have access to survivor's benefit, they will have access to employment injury, so depending on the country, depending on the context. So
Yes.
very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Yes, I wonder if there's any questions. I think that was the last presentation that we had in our queue, but I would like to open the floor to any reflections or questions. I mean, you've all heard from each other now. There are similarities, there are differences, depending upon the context. You know, are we looking at legal coverage? Are we looking at effective coverage? Are we looking at parametric reforms? Are we looking at you know, fundamentally changing the nature of the reforms, like we saw, for example, with Eswatini, with the pension system, and what you did in Tanzania as well? Are we looking at changing from a voluntary scheme to a mandatory scheme? So I see some trends here. Any comments or questions? Let's see. Have you heard anything that may have inspired you, particularly the ones who didn't present? Let's see if you would like to come in and maybe reflect and just share. You don't have to present, but maybe just sharing a few reflections as to whether that chimes with what is happening in your country, or maybe there's a group that you would like to focus on that hasn't been mentioned. Agnes, please.
Thank you so much. I was listening to the previous presenter who was presenting on the informal sector. Here in Zimbabwe, we are now also working on establishing one, and we still don't have the legislation yet. It's still work in progress, but we've done consultations around the country to see what is it that we can embed in the system. So I would really love to take some notes from her presentation, because I noticed there are some areas where we could also take note to improve our own system here in Zimbabwe. But it's still not yet running, it's still on paper, and we are still working on it. So I'm sure there's still chances for us to panel beat it so that it can suit the required audience. Thank you so much.
Very interesting to also hear what's happening in Zimbabwe. Method, I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't see you anymore now. Is he still there? Yes, he is. Sorry, I couldn't see your name anymore. But Todd, we're very interested. Rwanda is always a very interesting example. So I wonder if you want to share maybe a few considerations, maybe based on what you heard. I know that you were not there from the beginning, but and maybe just telling us where you're at and what do you think that perhaps your key challenge might be. I know that you didn't prepare a presentation, but just maybe opening your mic and exchanging so that we can get maximum exposure to the countries that are represented in this room. Are you up for it, Method?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. No pressure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So thank you very much. Of course, here in Rwanda, also at Rwanda Social Security Board. So these days we are exploring this topic of extending social security coverage, especially in the informal economy, because our economy right now, informal employment stand at almost 90%, meaning that if we are to go with the formal employment only, we are catering very few people. That is why we are exploring possible means to expand mainly mandatory or contributory social security schemes. But on the other hand, we have a voluntary long-term savings scheme. It is called the ISSSA that caters almost all of the informal sector. And we are seeing quite a big number of individuals contributing to that scheme, ISSSA. But of course, the challenge of ISSSA, since it is voluntary, so there are kind of people who can register or maybe contribute only once a year, or others contribute a very little amount that we see that it cannot benefit them in their old age. So that is why we are exploring ways to extend social security, mainly mandatory pension, maternity leave, occupational hazard, to kind of informal workers. And we are exploring ways we can start by what we call platform workers, because platform workers, it is somehow easy to communicate with the operators of the platform to collect and contribute on behalf of those platform workers. But of course, in a broader way, we have also medical, what we call mutuelle de santé, which is also a kind of social protection also that covers almost everyone, and more than 13 million Rwandans. All of them, they are covered by community health-based insurance. So everyone at least can afford medical expenses through mutuelle de santé. So I think that's what I can share for the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Method. It's always nice to hear about what's happening in Rwanda. It's a very dynamic and interesting country which has undergone many interesting reforms. Let's see. I don't know who Samsung is. I don't know if it's somebody from a country that we haven't heard from yet, and we've also got users. So if anybody else would like to maybe talk about their own country, what is happening, whether what they've heard resonates with them. And I see Gabriel, thanks for sharing your message with Agnes as well. In the chat. Yes. Please. I don't know who you are, but you've raised your hand. We can only see the name of your phone.
I think it's me.
Ah, okay. So you're connected with two devices then.
Yeah, I mean, this is Bergude from Ethiopia.
Okay, hello.
Yeah, so in our country, we have different types of social security coverage schemes, and mainly we have the public workers social security scheme and the private organization employees social security scheme. That's officially too big. Both of them are very big. And the public is usually covers employees who are working for government sectors and government sectors. And private organization employees, they are formal employees, not informal ones, who are employed in one of private organization for at least 1.5 months and the paid monthly salary. So that's mandatory for those who are employed in private organization. And that's mandatory. These are two major parts. But now we are planning to cover also the informal ones, because once we cover all the formal ones to the date, it is soon. I think from the next year, we are planning to also approach the informal sector. We will see how we can push it. Now it is in planning stage right now, and actually we have different types of social security schemes. For example, health social security scheme in health. That is not in our sector, but the government of Ethiopia, and especially with the Ministry of Health, there is a special program. We call it health security. I mean, the coverage of in health, what you call insurance, health insurance program.
Yes.
That goes up to the farmers, and all informal sectors too. So that's a very big one.
Is that the community-based health insurance?
Yes, it is regulated by the government, especially with the Ministry of Health, but it went down up to the informal sector, including the farmers, even the farmers.
Yes,
and
that's a very interesting model that you have in Ethiopia. Yes.
Yeah, they are working on it, and they are covering almost many people right now. I don't have exact figure now. And the other one is also non-contributory. That all are, I mentioned, are contributory ones, but there is also non-contributory pension scheme, not pension scheme, social security scheme as such. That's, for example, you can call safety net programs in a rural area, because people work something just to pay them, to support them, because of they have low income, they can't support their livelihood. So such kind of also support program, assistance program the government has in town areas as well as in rural areas. So those are also some of the initiatives we have. And right after some time, start from next year, we have a plan to cover non-formal sectors too. And we are working good, I think.
Thank you very, very much. That's very interesting. Again, another country that we're watching closely. And that reminds me of two things, maybe, and then we'll wrap up and go back to the plenary, which when we're looking at attractiveness, and really trying, particularly with informal workers, what has been one of the lessons that we have is that health insurance, social health insurance is, oh, sorry. No, you were not. So Samsung has his hand up or her hand up. We don't know. Please go ahead. I thought it was the same. I thought it was the same person.
It's different.
It's different. It's different. So please go ahead. And well, while you unmute yourself, I was just saying that social insurance, social health insurance, is a very effective way to leverage attractiveness. And countries, particularly in West Africa, are using these assurance maladie to really entice informal workers to get into the system. And then, of course, you know, that opens the door to them to have access to other benefits. Please, you have the floor.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Can you tell us who you are, because we cannot see your name?
Okay, my name is Isatu Cheeks. I am from the Social Security of Liberia.
Hello, hello.
I'm trying to put a video on. All right, so
hey, we see you now. Good.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, most of the presentations are almost the same in terms of the approaches, except there are some, you know, point of differences. So for me, in Liberia, what I would say is, what I see as a major hurdle to the enrollment of people in the informal sector. Yeah, one, I think there's a great sense of lack of understanding. For what reason, I can't speak directly to it. Lack of understanding on the part of the what we call clients or the beneficiaries, who happens to be the informal workers. Because when you speak with them, with the feedback they gave you in terms of what their interests or their concerns are quite different from the benefits or the idea that you are pushing to them. So what I have seen as a loophole now to bring in people who may not necessarily be covered under the formal sector into the social security program of my country is through the voluntary contribution approach. But the downside of this approach is this group of people lack completely medical coverage, because the voluntary approach that we have is the one that allows them to pay a certain percentage of whatever income they will declare. However, that goes strictly to pension and not the injury scheme. And both schemes are contributory. So I just wanted to make that point. And I believe the sooner we can make that attractive in terms of how they can become covered medically, that would be a great boost. I believe that also feeds into some of the issues that the folks in the informal sector have about joining the program. So that's where I think our emphasis should be in terms of enticing or encouraging them to be a part of the Social Security program.
Thank you so much. Yes, no, that's exactly that. So there's trade-offs. And I think we're going to be sent back into plenary very soon. So if I get cut off, I'll finish my point in plenary. But yes, so it's the trade-off between the attractiveness. Do you open the door? Do you make it voluntary so that it's not mandatory? But at the same time, if it's voluntary and you have a tier structure, like our friend from Liberia was saying, then perhaps that doesn't cover all the benefits. In particular, in Liberia, it doesn't cover health insurance. So, you know, medical insurance or medical costs. So there's different trade-offs that need to be made, but and each country comes at it in a different way. If you open to pension, most countries that we've heard from today, then the door opens to other benefits. So it's worth investing in making the pension benefits attractive, so that then that helps with coverage. I think that closes our session in breakout rooms. If you want to leave, I think the rooms will close in just a few seconds. But if you want to leave the room and go back to plenary, if you there's a button at the bottom of your screen where you see all the icons that says leave room, and we can all go back to plenary. But I'll also let my colleague Melina know that we're ready to go. Okay. I think everyone is leaving. There we go. Hello, everyone. I hope that wasn't too traumatic for people. We tried to sort of stretch it till the last moment. I hope everybody had a chance to present. How did it go, Shay?
Yeah, we had really good contributions from 4 different presenters groups. So unfortunately, we didn't have enough time for questions for each group because that's what we were really hoping for. But I still think the good ideas were communicated and people have a lot of food for thought. Perhaps there's still room for discussion here in the plenary. I don't know.
I think
We'll
we
see.
only have about 3 minutes,
Yeah.
but it's great. And we'll share the recordings as well. So in our room, we had Seychelles, we had 2 presentations from Zambia, one focusing on domestic workers, one focusing on farmers. We heard from Eswatini, and we also heard from Tanzania, but then we did have time after the presentations, and we also heard from Liberia, we heard from Zimbabwe, we heard from Ethiopia, we heard from Rwanda. So that will also be reflected. Although we didn't have presentations from them, we had reflections and ideas coming from them as well. So I have a couple of service announcements to make, Shay. So I don't know, shall I do that? And then I'll hand over to you for the final wrap up. Is that okay? Or just goodbye?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think we'll have time to go through the slides I had, but it's fine. We can I'll just say a final yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is
So
that just very, very quickly? I just wanted to share my screen just to show just to show everybody the platform, just to draw your attention to a couple of final activities that we're asking you to complete. So this is, there we go, the post-course phase. We would be very, very grateful if you could complete the satisfaction questionnaire. I know that some of you have been completing the questionnaires, the satisfaction questionnaires every week. So thank you for that. But also there's a nice activity called the Wall of Commitment, where we ask you to look ahead and just write a small statement of commitment to just tell us what you wish to complete, to do, what actions you wish to take in looking forward in the next month, 3 months, and longer. So that's all, really. These are the final 2 activities, and over to Shay for a final wrap up.
I'm not going to do a technical wrap up. I think you've heard enough from me, really. We'll post the slides that essentially are your reflections. So what I did in the final, what I was going to sort of end the day on were your own reflections that I pulled from the discussion threads from all of the different weeks, organizing those according to those different A's. So I think you can look at those in your own time because we've said enough about them. And I just want to say that I had a really nice time with all of you. We had great presentations just now from Ghana, from the Gambia, Sierra Leone, Uganda, and there were others that were ready but weren't able to present at the end. So take the time to review each other's contributions on the platform as well, because they were all written up and you can share. Some of you had shared them in text form or in Word form, but now have presentations. So please also add those. Sometimes people don't have time to watch the recordings, but can still consult the slides because I think they were all really well organized and systematically thought out. And so for me, that's the only hope from the course, is that you continue to think about these things when you go back to your organizations.